Well, folks, there you have it. Jeff Capel officially will be back as the Pitt men's basketball head coach in the 2022-23 season. I'm going to talk about it all here. I want a quick reaction here to this whole thing. Heather Lyke comes out and says that he is coming back, and the first thoughts are we expected this, right? The big hefty buyout, it's going to weigh large in this whole thing. That buyout's apparently as big as $17 million. Quite honestly, yes, Pitt might have boosters that could hand that out, but it's always going to come with strings attached. There's going to be a lot of minutia you have to dive into. There's so much different things that come in and clog that ability. Maybe they could have raised that 17 million, but even in the pandemic, of course, coming out of that over the past 2 years, Pitt as an institution does not have a ton of money like that. They might not want to pay it all out. There's so many different things to there. But Jeff Capel's back. We expected this. And here's the thing. Moving forward, what do you do in terms of this team? I mean, the real thought is what is this program going to look like next year? Who transfers out? Who stays? All of the minutia coming in here. Everything from a macro view has to come through. And it's obvious. This team has to win through the portal. They have to win through the portal. They have two open scholarships right now with Mogi and Onyeze Kuda leaving. So they're going to need to add at least a point guard and a four. They're probably going to need to back up big, and they're probably going to need a legit three in the wing. So I think they need at least four guys here. Again, this is a team that's going to need to be 8, 9 deep, at least seven. At the very least, they're going to need to be 7 deep. Right now, if they bring back everyone they have that you would consider part of the rotation, they're probably 6 deep. I would imagine that they would be looking to upgrade on a guy like Collier and Jeffress. But the core five are Sabande, Horton, Odukali, Hughley. And so you have those kind of core guys there in terms of who you have. You would like to keep Odukali. You would definitely like to keep Sabande. You would like to keep your three-point shooter in Horton and Jamarius Burton as your combo guard, and then John Hughley, of course. You would like to keep those guys. But the two big ones you really want to keep are Burton and Hughley, and we'll see what kind of works through there. There's probably going to be movement on this roster. They're going to probably have more scholarships open than just two. You would imagine that someone's going to transfer out. And so Jeff Capel and his staff have to hit the portal very hard. And by very hard, they have to find 3 or 4 contributors that can be legit ACC talents on this team. And if they think there's a high school guy that they can reach here late on, and maybe that's the Duke Thoreau, maybe that's the twins from ING Academy. They're in on a few guys. Noah Batcher, who decommitted from Memphis and was very close to Jeff Capel and very close to committing this past summer. It's a lot of guys that they can come back in on and maybe get there if they think that they can be part of that rotation this year. But really, that's it. And again, we talked about this. It's really money. And then also Alan Saunders wrote a good article today in Pittsburgh Sports Now that said also the guarantee here. Who else are they going to get, right? Paying out that big money. If they're paying out that $17 million buyout, they're not going to have the money to get a top coach, to get a real good coach on this coaching carousel. Who are they going to reach for? A guy like Nico Medved, who might get more money somewhere else. A guy like Dennis Gates, who, again, might be getting more money. Richie Riley, who might be getting more money. Maybe a Pitt alum like Sean Miller could make sense. But really, when you look at the allegations and all that have come across from him, the NCAA violations, it's a real non-starter. And then when you look at a guy like Brandon Knight, maybe a little too inexperienced, but he could be the one guy that could do this. So Jeff Capel is back under nefarious circumstances and circumstances that I don't think anyone really wanted him to be back on. Again, I made the argument I don't think he should be back, but he will be back. And this is really Jeff Capel's last stand here. If he can't get it going this year, he never will here at the University of Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens, but the transfer portal, they need a four, they need a power forward, they need a point guard, they need a wing, they need a big. 4 big needs right there. If they can try and replicate what they did last year with Mogi in the portal to a degree, get another guy similar to Jamarius Burton, maybe as a wing a little bit bigger, and then a point guard that can distribute everything, things can go potentially well. But it's a tough job to ask of Jeff Capel. It's a tough job to ask of the staff. The staff shakeup's probably going to come. You need a staff shakeup. You can't run this back completely the same. You got to get rid of someone on the staff. Jason Cape, Milan Brown, perhaps on that. Tim O'Toole looks like the best guy on the support staff for Jeff Capel. Maybe they bring in a fired coach. Maybe they bring in some guys with player connections down to the high school level. You would like to see some semblance of overture of change within that coaching staff. But Obviously, that's the bare minimum right now. This is going to be Jeff Capel's last year if he can't get things going and get things rolling. The buyout was just too big for Pitt in the end, and that's really the end all be all. We'll see how it works for Pitt and Jeff Capel in 22-23, but for now, that is what it is. Folks, as always, thank you for listening to Locked on Pitt, and hail to Pitt.